Another violent pre-flight confrontation, this one escalating to a full-on fist fight. Tonight, video from a passenger just rose back from the scuffle, what he says happened before he began filming, and how airline executives say they plan to bring better service to the skies. If you've gotten the impression lately that air travel has gotten even more stressful, you are not alone. Take this international flight from Tokyo to LA just yesterday. It all started at around 5:30 p.m. The passengers were settling in for the 11.5-hour flight on board the Japanese airline All Nippon Airways. While the plane was still at the gate, this passenger in the red allegedly got angry.
The gentleman in the red reached to his right and grabbed one of the passengers that was in the same row as him, and he ended up grabbing him by the neck and tossing him into the aisle, and then the gentleman in the black shirt reached over and tried to pull the gentleman in the red off of them. Those two got into a fist fight, and that's when the video actually started.
Someone help! This guy's crazy! Help! Help!
Eventually, the man began to walk away.
Coming back. What the hell?
But for some reason, he came back.
There was two female flight attendants. They both crowded around. They tried to break up the fight, and he started scuffling with them.
Corey Auer says that's when he stepped in. Corey says soon after, the man left the aircraft.
He actually went and attacked one of the gate members from ANA, and that member actually ended up boarding the plane with us, and we could see that his face is bloody.
According to a spokesman for the Japanese airline, the passenger was removed from the flight after assaulting passengers and an ANA employee. The airline says he was later arrested. He has not yet spoken out.
If it had been 10 minutes later, we would have been in the air, and this would have been a whole different type of fiasco.
Come on!
This incident is just the latest in a series of onboard mishaps
This committee in Congress
that have led Congress to examine how air travel can be improved.
The problem with the flying experience is across the board. We all know it's a terrible experience.
Today, airline executives were in the hot seat on Capitol Hill for more than 4 hours.
Passengers are frustrated.
United CEO Oscar Munoz was one of the first executives to speak.
The reason I'm sitting here today is because on April 9th, we had a serious breach of public trust. No customer, no individual should ever be treated the way Mr. Dow was, ever. And we understand that.
He was referencing those now infamous videos of a United passenger caught in a travel nightmare.
Come on. Come on, come on.
Dr. David Dow was dragged off a United jet by law enforcement after refusing to give up a seat he had paid for.
Oh my God, look at what you did to him!
According to United, at the last minute, they learned that 4 crew members needed to be on that flight.
They told us that we would not leave until 4 people volunteered.
No, I'm not going. I am not going.
Dr. Dow insisted on keeping his seat, saying he needed it so he could return to his patients. The episode unleashed a PR crisis of epic proportions.
United Airlines is in hot water tonight.
United kicked off several passengers.
United better fasten its seatbelt.
It was a system failure.
Munoz sat down with my colleague Rebecca Jarvis for an exclusive interview just days after the incident.
What did you think when you saw that video of a man being dragged off of one of your planes?
Probably the word ashamed comes to mind. The first thing I think is important to say is to apologize to Dr. Dow, his family, the passengers on that flight.
United has since conducted a review of its policies and issued a report detailing 10 changes it is implementing, including an increase in compensation to up to $10,000 for passengers who are bumped from their flights. And Dr. Dow and the airline reached a settlement for an undisclosed sum. It's not just United, though. Just last week, a mother with 2 toddlers clashed with an American Airlines flight attendant over a double-wide stroller that was supposed to be checked at the gate.
I was very upset and grabbed it and just pulled it and yanked it off, sort of violently yanked it.
That's when another passenger on board stepped in, setting off sparks.
Hey, bud. Hey, bud. You do that to me and I'll knock you flat.
Stay out of
American Airlines upgraded the woman and her family to first class for the rest of their trip, They also refunded the full price of her ticket and gave her a $1,000 travel voucher. At that congressional hearing today, an American airline executive addressed the incident.
We did not handle that situation as it should have been handled, and we take responsibility for that. We should have helped her to gate check her stroller before she brought it on board.
If things seem to be soaring out of control, some experts say there are ways for consumers to manage their airline stress themselves.
Think about how any sort of calming that you want to do for yourself, if that's listening to music, if that's reading a book.
When it came to that United passenger, Dr. Dow, it's possible he was bumped because of the kind of ticket he bought.
Really, these airlines are very secretive with whatever formula or algorithm they use to select these passengers. But the fact of the matter is that if you are flying an airline with which you have no status, and you bought a fare that comes with no frills, you're going to be flagged if it's oversold.
United's contract of carriage says that the priority of all confirmed passengers may be determined based on a passenger's fare class or even frequent flyer program membership. But how many passengers actually know what fare class they're buying? If you're like many people, you probably search around to find the cheapest deal.
Someone told me that on Wednesdays seems to be, I have no idea.
As my colleague Lindsay Davis discovered during a non-scientific survey back in 2013, finding that perfect ticket isn't just about skill. You may need a little luck as well.
My cousin, she booked hers and she paid $370, and I paid $400 about 5 minutes later. It was ridiculous.
Do you know how to get the cheapest fare?
I have no idea. It can change while you're booking it.
Grand total of $481.60.
Would you be really disappointed to know the lady sitting right there on the end, she paid about $250?
I would be disappointed to know
and
that.
She booked it 2 weeks ago on Expedia.
Wow.
And while you may save some cash on a lower cost ticket, Gabe Saglier says you could be sacrificing much more.
Perhaps paying a little bit more for a fare is really an investment in your experience, and at the end of the day, an investment in your sanity.
So as we approach Memorial Day, to protect yourself from a potentially frightening flight, Saglier has a few tips.
Number one, be a loyal flyer with that airline. Number two, avoid hub-to-hub flights. Pick your days of the week wisely. If you can travel on a Tuesday versus, say, a Monday, then the number of business flyers on that flight diminishes quite a bit.